Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Idlepark Talk Show. Today is a very special day because we are going to be talking about culture. And of course, we all know how important culture is to us, especially those of us who are out here in the diaspora who might not usually have the opportunity to, delve in our culture and practice and enjoy the culture that we love so much. Our panelists today are very special to me. I have very good friends of the show. I would like to give everyone the opportunity to introduce themselves. But before I do that, I want to acknowledge, of course, the presence of Ashun Kem, who is a very good friend of this show. He is a lover of our culture and does whatever he can no matter where it is, to promote culture, Cameroonian culture, African culture, and a very important advocate of culture in our community. So I'm talking about Calgary, Edmonton, Alberta community. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. Second acknowledgement would be acknowledging someone that I just got to know recently. He is Richard Kings. He is an artist, multi-talented. If you listen to him, you would agree with me that he has what it takes, and he too is a lover of culture. He will definitely be talking a little bit about who he is and how he got into music as we progress. Of course, we have um, um, Daddy Ashu. If you live in Calgary, if you've been in Cameroon, you probably would have seen him in a movie. I remember that he is an actor, if I'm not mistaken.
You're
Um,
correct.
Probably not doing it at this time, but I have seen him in movies. And if you grew up in Cameroon like I did, you definitely would have seen him. He too would have an opportunity to kind of, introduce himself, because I don't think I'll do it justice trying to talk about Daddy Ashukeng. He is a promoter of culture. He's a community leader and a resident of Calgary as well. And also, of course, my very good friend and at this point co-host, Lillian Kom. Lillian will be leading the conversation today, so I would like her to, introduce herself and then get our guests to introduce themselves, and then we'll move on from there. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Aso. Thanks for having me again on your platform on Idle Park Talk Show. I want to start by asking you, Aso, how did you come about the name Idle Park? It's quite interesting when I look at it because it comes with some sense of calm, relaxation, a place to air out what you're feeling without any fear of being judged. So tell me, how did you come about the name Idle Park Talk Show?
So when myself and my co-host Ghana Rodrigue were, thinking about putting a show together and thinking about how we wanted it to operate, we wanted an environment that was conducive for conversations without judgment, where people can be comfortable to share their ideas without fear of repercussions, right? We wanted a place that was, respectful, that was familiar. And what came to my mind as a child growing up back home in Cameroon, there's a place you call Idle Park. It could be a group of two, three friends just sitting and talking about life and talking about things that are happening within that community, right? So that is where the idea came from. We wanted to create an atmosphere that was similar to what we have back home, where people gather. If it doesn't matter if it's boys or girls, you gather in a particular place, maybe under a tree, and you talk about what it is that's going on. There's no judgment, and no one is penalized for their ideas, right? So that is kind of how we kind of got to this place. And again, of course, as you know, we have been doing this for the past 3 years, and we feel privileged and happy when we are able to gather people who are important in community like this, right, to have a conversation. Of course, it's a privilege for us.
Thanks so much, Aso. I guess and I hope our guests today would feel the energy of Idle Park Talk Show, would be relaxed, would share their stories, and We hope we are going to learn from each and every one of you here today. I would like to start with by saying thank you to Mr. Ashu for creating this opportunity for us today. I know Asum reached out to me and say, hey, Mr. Ashu wants us to have a discussion about culture, about his NGO, and he talked about the special guests, which we all realize that we have someone different amongst us today, all the way from Cameroon. I guess he'll be here with us in Calgary. Asum, you wanted to say something?
All the way from the United States.
Oh,
I should have mentioned all the way from the United States.
exactly. Okay, perfect. So all the way from the United States to come spend a moment of music, a moment of entertainment with us. So let's hear from Mr. Ashu, who is the architect of this our show today. Who is Mr. Ashu and what prompted you to call this show tonight?
Good evening. Happy to have you guys all here present. It's a privilege to have guys looking at us and looking up to us tonight. We are now the actors for them to see us and see what they can either criticize constructively or otherwise. It's a privilege to have you to be here today. When you talk of me, you talk of culture. When you see me, you see culture. That's why I am. I had a conversation. I'm Samuel Ashu. I'm a MECA president, but I'm not in a capacity as a MECA president because I'm not limiting myself to a particular or tying myself down on build walls. Like I said, culture is all about progress. When something is not progressive, then there's no success. Success about being followed progress. So something came in my spirit today. I was talking to Dariashu, just like he said, Idlepark. I don't know if it was Dariashu, but I was telling him that it's just like you moving in a new city and you feel like you want to know the town and you're moving towards the Carrefour. And when you start moving towards the Carrefour, you start seeing things that you cannot see in the quarters, or you could not have seen where you are. So why going to the junction? So Idle Park is a system, and it was my belief as well when I thought about it. It's like going to the junction, you start seeing many cars, many houses, and start being attracted to many directions. So you want to choose one direction to go. So it's just it's just a vision that you have that you need a midwifer. Like a woman goes to give birth and she needs a midwifer to bring out what the baby in her, right? So just like knowledge, we always know that knowledge is in it. So it's in you, but you need to bring it out. So this type of platform is for us to like bring what we have inside us. So I'm privileged today to introduce you Richard Kings because he's coming all over the way. So the NGO is all about culture, all about promotion, it's all about giving each and everyone an opportunity. It's just like an enabling environment. So it's just like the same concept that he's thinking about. As all of us are growing, as cultural promo is growing, it gives an opportunity for each and everyone to bring out the real talent you have. Like we just call it midwifery. That's why I can liken us to look at it tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Ashu. I think one thing I picked out from what you said is when we see you, we should see culture. And I can see even from your attire today that there is a lot of cultural pieces in your costume. So I am expecting we would learn much today. Let's hear from Daddy Ashu. Who is Daddy Ashu? We know you around Calgary as Daddy Ashu, but I think there is more our guests would like to know about you. Who is Daddy Ashu?
Thank you very much for this opportunity once more to come up on Idle Park Talk Show. Daddy Ashu that's just me, right? My name is Ashukem Takang, and I'm called Daddy Ashu not only in Calgary but all over the world. Yeah. The name Daddy Ashu came because I inherited the three names of my dad. So as a child, I was called Daddy, and the only way you want to make a difference between
the senior daddy and the junior daddy, one should be qualified. And so my own added Ashu to it. So I'm Daddy Ashu, right? Um, by coincidence, I'm a lover of children, I'm a lover of music, and I'm a strong promoter of cultures. Like, I didn't even know Mr. Ason knew much about me. Yes, I have been in the movie industry for quite a while. We were those that actually started the first movies in Cameroon. Um, I also participated in some of it in Nigeria, and I believe in cross-cultural emancipation, or not really. Well, we propagate our cultures. There are quite like Ashikam just said here. Um, if you go to they call it here intersection. Behind they will call it junction, right? You go to the junction, you see many ways, and all those ways are good because one road leads to somebody's house, the other road leads to some other person's house. All those people come through their various roads and meet at the intersection or the junction. So you can't say that one road is better than the other. We have to recognize all roads. That's why I believe that our Cameroon cultures, you see, they call Cameroon in miniature. Our Cameroon cultures, they set a proper miniature platform for us to expand as cultural beings. And there are myths about our culture. We're going to talk about that today, that we would want to clear people's minds of such myths. I think we'll have time to talk more about that in the course of the show.
Thanks so much, Daria Show. I mean, I've heard many roads lead to the junction, and no road is better than the other. You believe in cultures. I underline the S. I heard you specify, like, really impact, like highlight the S. Um, and that kind of speaks much to us as Cameroonians who have many cultures. Um, we are one people, but we have many cultures, and that is the richness, that's the beauty of Cameroonians. So let's go to our special guest tonight, Richard Kings. I've never heard about him. It's actually my first encounter from the moment Mr. Ashu talked to me about him being our guest, who will be our guest artist in the upcoming event we will talk about later on in the show. So I'm excited to hear who Richard Kings is, what is his passion, what drives him as an artist. So, Richard Kings, is over to you.
Thank you very much, Asang. Thank you, Kong. Thank you, Ashikem and Daddy Ashikem and the other gentleman. Thank you very much, and every Facebook friend of Idle Park who's watching right now. My name is Richard Kings, and as Daddy Ashikem and Ashikem has just said, when you get to the crossroads, to the junction, you see many roads. Now you come and Asong, you guys have gotten to the junction now, and then you can see a road leading to somebody called Richard Kings. It is a humbling experience to realize that in certain precepts, you might get to know that I got to Form 4 before I ever knew somebody called Manu Dibango, but I was a Cameroonian. And Manu Dibango was known all over the world. For some reason, we never knew him in Cameroon. We knew other people's music because of either the tendency or the kind of music that was propagated on the radio in those days. So I would take this opportunity to humbly say, this is a discovery for you guys too, and this is a Richard Kings, and he had to take AB Canada, and it had to take this cross-cultural platform for you to get to discover like I would say, the crux of the matter. The crux of the matter meaning there is no aspect of Cameroonian cultural life, especially when we talked about the grass fields, that there was no subliminal Richard Kings in that area. So for now, thank you, Ashikem, thank you, Con, thank you, Assam, for bringing Richard Kings to the limelight, especially within the environs of Calgary through this program. Humbly and in all humility, we are in a learning space, like Ashikem said. We are learning, we are exchanging, we are tolerant to cultures, like Daddy Ashikem said. We are opening up spaces, clearing up roads that are going to different people's homes, so that in that at that junction, we can actually say, hey, this is what we're missing. Hey, this is what we did right. Hey, this is what we can correct. So we are here constructively and in level on level ground to say, my name is Richard Kings. I am a Cameroonian artist. I come from Kumbo. I have been living in the United States for the past 6 years, and I have represented Cameroon at international trade fairs like in China. I've performed at the United Nations General Assembly about 3 times for the days commemorating the abolition of slavery, the African Day, the Drum Beat Day. I've performed at the NAACP, which is the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People here in the United States. I've also performed at the Harlem Dance Theater. I've performed at the Unity Palace in Cameroon several times. I've done a lot of performances to represent our modest cultural heritage in Cameroon, which not necessarily was frontline news in every aspect, but it was modest. It was a modest contribution from my part to get to that junction, like Ashukem and Daddy said. And whenever I was in that junction, I always privileged the group systematics. It was never about me as an individual, it was about a collective of people humbly carrying a vision forward. So, not to talk too much, that is a modest and very intimate, representation of who Richard King thinks he is. But my real name is Richard Kinga. So sometimes I have to become Richard Kinga and to talk about Richard King. So that's where I
Yeah.
place myself. So this was Kinga Richard talking about Richard Kings, which is sometimes very intimidating. But yes, thank you so much, Com. Thank you, Asan. Thank you, gentlemen and lady. And we're here to talk. Let's just, it's not formal. I don't want to be this tense and all of these things, but we still thank you so much for having given me this opportunity to give you a tip of the iceberg of who I am. Thank you. I hand it back to you to come.
Thanks so much, Richard Kings. Thanks so much. So, Richard
Yeah.
Kings is a Cameroonian artist who hails from the northwest region of Cameroon, precisely from Kombo. And he's here today to share his experiences as an artist, and probably who he is in his life. We talked about culture as a form of exchange, and today we have a learning platform. So we are all learning. It's not a serious conversation. It's a chat. It's a chat. We are at Idlepark Talk Show, so we are in a place where everybody should feel relaxed. Everybody should discuss things that they don't feel comfortable saying on TV or on radio. Um, so thanks so much, Richard Kings. We have Ghana here, one of the co-hosts of Idle Park Talk Show. Um, let's hear from you.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Richard Kings. I know you. I have heard your music for many years. I'm a big, huge fan of yours. So I'm surprised a lot of people here don't know you. But I've heard him perform. I've heard like stories from people I know about him. So it's a privilege for me to be speaking with you. And I'm grateful for you coming on our platform. So, well, I'm just here to learn, and hopefully we can promote this show far and wide so that we can get a massive population turnout when you come to Calgary. Again, it's a massive privilege to have you here, listening to you for many years, and you're such an inspiration and representation of the Cameroon culture. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Ghana. So I would start with a question to directed at Mr. Ashu, who is the architect of this show tonight. Um, I understand you have an NGO, the Cross Cultural Promo, and I have been seeing some posters going around the town, going around city of Calgary. It appears you have an event coming up. Can you tell us about what cross cultural promo is all about, and probably what you have in store for us in the next couple of months?
Yeah, initially, the concept was just cross cultural. Then later, I realized that promo is not there, like creating a platform for people to showcase themselves. So we now migrated to cultural promo. So cross cultural still stands. So we are coming in as cross cultural promo on this issue because I think it's not only about last year. Like last year, we had the Bayangi musicians. So when we come to cross cultural, we are touching base with each and every communities. So we have that tendency, and we believe that there are great talents. One or two ways being tied down in different areas that we cannot really explain. If you look at Richard Kings, and if you look at the last artist we brought last year, Etando Mo Manu, he sings very good music. The Manu people really know, they really do know him, but the other tribe really don't know him that much. So there's a lot of impediment when it comes to, I don't know if it's their career or certain activities. I can't really place a finger on. So our target now is to target those people who have those talents. We don't care to know where you're coming from, who you are, but we want to know what you can bring on the table. So we appreciate what you have, and like we have this opportunity. Mr. Asong is coming to know Richard Kings. He told me the last time that I've never listened to his music. I've just listened to few of his music.
Yeah.
But mind you, Richard Kings has a lot of fans here in Calgary. And they have been calling him. He can testify that in Calgary, yeah, personally in Calgary. I'm talking about Calgary, but I'm in Calgary. He has it all over. But in Calgary, I realized that a lot of people know about Richard King. And they have been calling him. He can testify to that. So what I'm just telling you about the NGO cultural and cross-cultural promo now is to tell you that it's an enabling environment for anybody who wants to spring forth. The impediment that we keep limiting ourselves, because if we look at our culture, our society, the first thing they'll ask you, when did you come to Canada? When did you come to Calgary? Those are limitations. We admire Burkina Faso president. But we have a lot of people like Burkina Faso's president around us. But when they want to spring forth, we bring this tone. Like when you read the Bangwa book, they call it crown of thorns, Those thorns pierce people, and people who don't have confidence, they go under the ground. But few people like us who have the confidence, at times we sit and we listen to things, what people say, right? It gives us that energy that the more they speak, the more you go further, and the more God blesses you. I think cultural promo is to give you that confidence that the more they talk about you, the more you spring forth. The more they talk about you, the more you bear fruit. The more they talk about you, the more you impact the community. So that's what cultural promo is all about.
Okay. Thanks so much, Mr. Ashu, for that simple but straightforward explanation on what cross-cultural promo does. I hear one of your goals is to promote artists. Is that just artists from Cameroon or artists from all over the world?
Artists all over the world. It's still cross-cultural. Like, it's not limited. We start with those we think they are very good that we can reach out to, and what people like this one, I can't lie to you. He was recommended by Inusa, but I think a lot of people might. I just want to be frank. He was recommended by Inusa. Yeah, I spoke with him through Inusa, the guy who says so. Yeah, he was recommended by, because we are open. We are very open. There's no bias, and besides that, we limit culture when it comes to culture. We always limit culture to singing, dancing, but like the days of the old, those people hitting gongs. So music and dancing, let's say music, dancing, attracts people to come and listen to the real, what is behind the scene. Because what is behind the scene is education. A lot of people don't know that education falls on that culture. And a lot of people don't know that what we consume, we should select what we consume when it comes to education. So there are a lot of communication and cannot be communicated, but through that music, dancing, then people gather, they will now listen the real story, how our parents live their life, how they suffer, their shortcomings, and how we can ameliorate those things and bring our kids to limelight to understand that where we are coming from, with the knowledge they have, like in philosophy we say conscientism, they should have that conscience that no matter how intelligent you are, it's not to exploit. I mean, exploit people, but to impact those that are less educated or are less. We don't have that privilege you have.
Privilege.
So that is how I look at it. So it's an idle park, just like you said. It's an idle park where you don't just appear on the in the talking on the idle park. You have to move. There's an effort. You have to do it. So there must be a talent that we push forward. So we don't push only artists. There are other things we push, but like I said, education is one, and the other aspects. But music and dancing attract people. So when they come, then they listen what is behind the scene.
Okay. So we have music and dancing on the forefront, then on the tone is education, culture. Is that it?
Yes, yes. Let me just come in and put this. Thank you very much for your very brilliant question. Um, Cross-cultural promo, which we started last year, like we said, was an idea to, like he has really and rightly said it, to express ourselves. First of all, we look at this thing from this picture. What is culture? I don't want us to go to advanced dictionaries or whatever. Let's just look at it from a layman's point of view. That's like an Adripa point of view. Culture can be looked upon as the way people do things. Now, various people are in various places and they do things in different ways that suit them. Now, if the people in one place, they do things, they agree to do things in a particular way and it works for them, and me, I'm in another place and we do our own things in some other way and it works for us, we can't impose our way on those other people. We have to respect the way they do things because that's how it works for them and that's how peace is coming. Like he rightly said, education is an aspect of culture that people haven't really realized. Now, if you do a SWOT analysis of yourself, like when you come to Calgary, you do a SWOT analysis. Now, SWOT is strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You will notice that strengths can be translated into opportunities, while weaknesses can become threats. Now, what are our strengths? What are our strengths? The first thing I want to look at, I come from Cameroon. In Cameroon, we have a small country of a few square kilometers, 30 million people, but you know what? We have 260 cultures. That's the highest number of that's the highest cultural diversity in the whole of Africa, I think in the whole world, in that little place. And so we have gone in that environment where we mingle with people of other cultures. So by the time you become an adult in Cameroon, if you actually grow from childhood, you would have swiggled into many cultures and you start seeing how other people do things. Now that's a strength. And then we take it as an opportunity. We took it now as an opportunity. Here in Calgary, Cameroon doesn't have the highest population, but I bet you Cameroon has the highest diversity of cultures in Calgary. So it's our strength, it's our opportunity. How can we promote this? We have to push our culture. Every year people go and present themselves at the Stampede. Many of them, you look at the cultures, in as much as you and I can say they are colorful, but I think by the time we take our Cameroonian cultures and present it, color will be added to that Stampede. Do you agree with me? So now, we have looked at this thing and we say, let us spread our cultures. Let us educate people. And just like he said, we have moved to Canada. The majority of us came here as adults. We came with our kids. Some of us are having kids here. Those kids do not have an opportunity to learn what we learned while growing. How do we teach them these things? They have to know their cultures. They have to know their roots. Everywhere people know their roots. When Abraham was instructing for the marriage of his wife, he had to send back that they should go to his place to get the wife for his son. Everything you have to go back. When Joseph was dying, he said to his people, the day you are leaving Egypt, carry my bones out of this place. It means everybody has a root that one day, even if it is just for information purposes, you have to redirect yourself to that root one day. And that root will be lost completely if you do not transcend that culture, those cultures to your children. And if I come here as a man from Manu and I just want to talk about Manu, then I'm actually limiting myself. And I'm actually limiting the Cameroonian community. I'm actually limiting the African community, which is not the right thing to do. That's why we have to look at people with cultures. I like the way Lilian, you put it when you were talking to, is it Asong or Lilian, to Richard Kings, that, oh, it's Asong, that you don't even know the kind of music he plays. And I like his answer. He doesn't play music for people to dance. He plays music for soul searching. So if you are looking for reggae, you will see it in Richard Kings. If you are looking for Makossa, you will see it in Richard Kings. If you are looking for disco, you will see it in Richard Kings. He knows how to penetrate people according to their various cultures. Do you agree with me? I think he is one of the best persons that should be here now to promote cultures in Calgary. We will talk more about culture as the program goes on. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Mr. Ashu. That's an interesting way to introduce our artist, our guest artist, Richard Kings. You have clearly said it that Richard Kings does not sing a specific brand of music. Richard Kings is a soul searcher. He touches everybody. So let's turn the mic to Richard Kings and hear from him. Can you walk us through your journey as an artist so we can learn who you are and we can learn what it takes to become an artist? Just tell us a little bit about your journey as an artist that you are.
Let me humbly walk into this idol park with a rendition. That rendition is, in all humility, when I'm sitting in Kumbo and I'm about 10 years old, I hear on CTV, so from that point, my life was never the same anymore. It was not Moro, it was not Njang, it was somebody singing. And fortunately for me, when I got to Yaoundé University, I got to meet a late past Sami Mafani, and I got to meet him. And every time when Guinness was still promoting the mountain race down in Boya, I would be invited, even though still in the University of Yaoundé one doing biochemistry. The Ministry of Culture already knew me because I walked on foot to all of these places. And I gave them my number. I said, I am an infotainer. At that point, I was infotaining and edutaining, meaning I would go to the United Nations Development Program, go to the Ministry of Culture, go to the Ministry of External Relations, especially the Department of Commonwealth, when Cameroon was already part of the Commonwealth. I would go to the Francophonie. I'll tell them that every time, or Ministry of Environment, any year you have a theme for a celebration of a day, be it the Forest Day, be it the education of the girl child's day, call me. I can write a song and come and do a musical interlude for your program for just 2 minutes. And I was making a living in Cameroon doing that while doing other songs, while doing the Melody Agora in 2001, Triple Heritage in 2006. But that is how I was much more the boots on the ground artist. The person who could walk into spaces without any complexes, neither nor inferiority nor superiority complex. I was walking into places with my self-confidence, opening those roads that were leading to different people's homes. And I noticed that if I'm coming there dressed with a certain regalia, I would have a stereotype because, as Daddy Ashukem actually said, we have 260 different languages. And we know the reality of our country. Sometimes you walk into a space You have to speak in a certain language before you are even addressed or you're even attended to. But I knew from the onset that you had to learn at least the English and the French. And then, after you can see how I started from Samir Rafani, I'm a young guy, going to knowing the English and French. That is already culture, whether you like it or not, whether it is imposed by a colonial master or it is an individual choice. But I have friends who were with me in the University of Yaoundé and they lived in Yaoundé for about 11 years. They could not speak a word, a sentence in French. I don't hold them responsible for that. It is a choice. Now, I don't know how they succeeded, but as Daddy as you came, and I will humbly tell you, come, this is who we are. In that space where we are forged by these different cultures, where we are influenced directly or indirectly by all of these different forces, who do we become? Who are we? So all of us who went to Yaoundé in the late 90s, you go to Yaoundé, all you were hearing was Makosa. But you would testify with me that it did not take 5 years and you started hearing music from Nigeria. And then because the Bikuti had a platform through which it could be promoted and either pushed into our radios or television, and the embarrassment, I saw somebody dancing Bikuti for the first time and I'm sitting with my mom I could not, I've never imagined a woman, moving certain sensitive parts of her body that fast. And as a Baptist kid, it was an embarrassment. But that was already a people's culture that was being bombarded on my fragile mind, whether you like it or not. But now, going to Yaoundé, I had to be able now to make choices, like Ashukem said. You have to choose which movement, which directions do you have to take. How do you want to react towards certain realities about your own culture as per other people's culture? Then now, tolerance came in. My tolerance was, okay, being a so-called child of a lesser God, meaning one of the few Baptist persons who comes from Salt, because majority of Salt is Catholic. So being a Baptist and coming from Salt and getting to do biochemistry in the University of Yaoundé one as an Anglophone. In fact, I have fought a lot of stereotypes all my life. And the only consistent thing that stayed with me was my culture, was my identity, that I opened up my heart for it to be influenced by other identities. If I became a closed person, I said, no, I'm a sponsor man, I'm a salt man, I'm only going to be eating fufu and jama jama, fufu and jama jama. I would have died of hunger in China, for example. I would have died of hunger in Angola. I would have died of hunger in Spain or in Italy or wherever I've traveled, or in the United States. And then you end up realizing that this, our culture, as we all know, it stems from how we have decided to choose to relate. Let me tell you a short story and end there. There is a certain secret dance in my country, in my town, I come from the palace, by the way. So there's a certain secret dance in the palace, and it is called Muro. For thousands of years, that music has never left Kumbo. Okay? For thousands of years, that music has never been heard anywhere else. Okay? But I bet you that's the best, that's the most beautiful music you can ever see or hear. But it is a sect that is only for a couple of people who are from a particular division. Now, I would want to put it in front of us, the learned people, intellectuals, and in Calgary, AB Calgary, for example, Canada, for example, right here. Maybe what we have spent thousands of years protecting and hiding and holding on to as a sacred thing, maybe, just maybe, the saving grace of that thing not to get extinct will be building a bridge, looking for that road leading to somebody's house in that junction that we all have come to conclusively say Idle Park is that junction. AB Canada is that junction where we are at, and we're saying, hey, this road leads to Richard King's home, and and in that palace, they sing a certain song, a certain music called Mora, or a certain song called Lali, because the women decided to do their own. And one day, there was a woman called Wibabi, and she said, okay, so you men say that we should not see that juju, Okay.
Richard,
Yes.
Richard, don't
Yes.
go to the group, please.
No, no, no. Wait, wait, wait. It is not. It is not. It is. This is
I'm
a good
scared.
thing.
I know of this
This
stuff.
is. This is our
I
education.
know that when it start coming to this thing, coming to
No, this is education. Let me tell you the breakthrough. What I'm trying to say is
okay.
this lady who was told that no woman sees that juju, okay, said that, okay, you men have said that, and she was the most enigmatic singer in the whole land. She was called Wee Babin. I'm telling this story. This is a true story. This is not a myth. So the Wee Babin now said, you people say we cannot, the women cannot see the juju. So she tied a handkerchief on her eyes. She blocked her eyes because she could sing. She went into that place, into that sanctum, and sang the juju better than the men who were there and danced. Now, nobody dares to say this in so, but see how she dared to build a bridge. She said, okay, they only say women cannot see it, but I can sing that music and I love it and I want to be part of it. And she walked into that place. Now, till today, that is still taboo. That's still sacrilege, you know. But for me, in my own humble opinion, it is not about women or man. We have seen artists coming from so, and I can just inform you in all humility that if I never dared to sing in Lamso, none of those artists, you would have never heard their songs. And I'll bet to end here, but this is the honest truth. All of those younger artists that you hear them singing in Lamso and singing so well, if there was no Richard Kings to dare sing in Lamso, none of them would have had that courage to sing. Thank you so much. And I know that this is a conversation, and it was not about Juju
Yeah.
Ashifem. It is about just educating ourselves on who we are. Maybe we might be hiding something that our saving grace will only come by, exposing it or telling the story of it to another friend. You know. So let me beg to land here, and we can continue with other panelists in order to do this exchange. Yes.
Thanks so much, Richard Kings. I think when you were talking, I just felt like when we're back home, we had our parents tell us stories. It brought out that piece of storytelling within our African culture that stood out for me. Then some other things that actually was amazing when I heard you talk about was you talked about cultural tolerance. You talked about you maintaining your identity but then being open to other cultures, and that helped you to integrate, and that has been one of the reasons why you've grown, because you opened up to other cultures and you embraced. Then you talked about building bridges across cultures and different perspectives. Also, I noticed you were laughing so hard when Richard Kings was talking. Do you have any comments to make with regards to what he just said?
Yeah, really, I'm always someone with opinions and lots of views, but this conversation is kind of humbling. Listening to Richard Kings and Daddy Ashu, there's a lot of wisdom in the things they say, and it just, I'm just sitting here, nodding and thinking about, what they are telling us. One thing that I've kind of picked on, which is something that I'm sure we struggle a lot with when it comes to culture, and probably the reason why um, 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 Mr. Ashunkem and Daddy Ashunkem are kind of doing this is because sometimes we feel like we are under pressure to assimilate as opposed to integrate. So I'm here. People tell you about the Canadian culture and they want you to. Most of the time, it feels like they want you to be assimilated to the point where you don't find your culture valuable. And while thinking about that, I began to think we are probably first, second generation immigrant Canadians. I imagine what my grandchildren might do when it comes to, say, the Bangwa culture, for example, because again, I think that's exactly why we are doing this. And like I've had lots of conversations with Mr. Ashunkem about getting the youth and getting our children involved in whatever it is that we are putting together, right? And I think for me that is what has been quite important, because I mean, as children, I got close to my culture because my parents took me to the traditional dances, they took me to the funeral homes, they took me to the traditional weddings, right? That is how I got to know. And us being here and not really doing much about culture, I think this cross-cultural promo is an important opportunity for us to not just only participate as adults, but also to ensure that the youth and our children are kind of brought into this space so they get familiar with the culture, and so that they can, see value in it, and at some point not feel pressure to assimilate to the culture in which we are now, but to integrate, keeping our culture, and of course recognizing that there are other cultures out here. So that is what is playing in my head. I will just stop here because I really just want to listen. It's a learning opportunity for me. So I'll leave it at that, and let's carry on with the conversation. It's
Thanks so
quite
much,
interesting.
Aso. Thanks so much. I hear you talk about assimilation and integration. That was an eye opener for me. I didn't really see that initially till when you brought it up. Ghana, any thoughts? Any thoughts from what Richard King said? Because you said a lot.
Oh,
Anything that you picked out or anything that stood out for you?
what you said was very insightful and educative, and I really appreciate it so much. And I'm really grateful for him, just sitting here face to face, because I've listened to him for many years, and this is the first opportunity that we're sitting virtually. So it's really an honor for me. And just to reiterate what I said earlier, thank you so much for preserving a lot of the Lamsa culture. I'm not from Lamsa, I have a lot of friends from there. But through your music, you have kept alive a lot of things that were not available to us. So we have come to appreciate, I personally have come to appreciate your voice, your ability to command the stage, your ability to engage with people, your humility. I've heard about your humility from people that have been close to you in the US.
Mhm.
So that's been wonderful. I am hopeful that the people of Calgary, who are very welcoming, by the way, will be able to appreciate you when you come there, and it will be a massive turnout. I'm grateful for Ashu Kem, who has been a friend, a brother. We've done a lot of business together. So this is a wonderful initiative. He's been talking about this for a long time. It's very great to see it coming to fruition. And Daddy Ashu, I've seen him in and around Calgary. We've never met personally, but I know him as a grandfather that's well connected and very involved in the culture. So this is just a wonderful opportunity for us. And like Asong said, I'm just here to listen, to get inspired, and to be educated more. Thank you, gentlemen, for all you guys are doing to preserve the culture that is so dear to us.
I just wanted to add before you go on, Lillian. My intention today was to set up the show and then step out. But
Yeah, yeah,
when
we have
when
nothing
when
to say.
when I started listening to the conversation, I'm like, no, I can't
Right?
be, I
Yeah,
cannot be
yeah.
a part of. I have to be a part of this conversation.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
why you see myself and Ghana here. The plan was set it
Yeah.
up, and then me and
Usually we have
Ghana step back
opinions, but
and
yeah,
let
today
Lillian
it is
do
more of yeah. Today's more of a listening
it.
part. And just to say, Richard Kings is a hero of mine in many sense in terms of maintaining the Lamsa culture, bringing it to life, adapting to the current times, to the current music, and being an inspiration to the lot of people of Lamsa descent who are kind of taking the mantle and are exploring the music and the culture in different ways. So it is a great, great honor for me, and I don't take this lightly that you came to the Idlepark Talk Show.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Ghana, for speaking to Richard King's humility and the
Oh yeah.
epos of his music within the Cameroonian community and worldwide. I want to turn back to Mr. Ashu and the two Ashus, Daddy Ashu and Mr. Ashu. So my question is, there are many artists in Cameroon, many, many, many prominent artists. Why Richard King?
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's not bias. We are open to suggestion and we check the profile. Like we see people who do a lot of great jobs and might be one or two reasons. Like we saw when he was talking, he's so emotional. I was born and bred in Bamenda. I want you guys to know that. And it happens that they saw people have one of the strongest stronghold, cultural stronghold when it comes to culture. I'm telling you, when you saw me getting scared, I was not like getting scared because I'm getting scared because of what we call ostracize. I think, and when they say yes, it's yes to everybody. That grip is too strong. So that emancipation, I think, is the assimilation. I think is rightly placed on that when it comes to the Saw people. It's just by divine intervention. I can't say anything because when I keep talking to him, what he's telling me is that what we have is more bigger than us. It means if you listen to what he said, he's an activist. He's somebody who has been speaking for the voiceless. He said he's coming from a minority. If you are listening to that,
all his life.
so somebody who has been and needs to speak up. So what I'm trying to say is this: I had to come to this understanding when I traveled to Yaoundé for my first time. By then, when I see with somebody is talking Bayangi, I don't want to speak. I feel that to be civilized or to be a big boy is when you don't know your language. But when I went to Yaoundé, that was in Ekunu. I saw a boy well dressed, the girlfriend well dressed. They were talking. So they were speaking their dialect. So I stood behind, I said, I don't want to learn my dialect, and I still regret why I don't speak well Ejagam in Bayangi. My mother speaks it very well. My father speaks it very well, but we are lacking on that. So when I saw those guys speaking those things, like I said, hey, it means it's good for me to sit and speak my own language, dress well and speak in Bayangi. So it's something we should be proud of. And I think what Richard is saying that I'm so emotional is like those assimilation. I think is an opportunity for us to talk because there's a lot of bands of people. Like, let me say the Saw people. I said something about tones. A lot of Saw people don't want to express themselves as Saw people because they have given them a tag on pronunciation. Now, those things, it frustrates them. They can't identify themselves. So Richard King is like a blessing and a gift. So it's not my making. It's not his making. It's not our making. But it's a divine way of us to make people know that should be proud of Saw. Should be proud of what you think is darkness. I mean, should be proud of what you think is light because some people will know that this is light, but because of that, and then I was strategized. So that's why I was scared. So I just want to say Richard King is a divine blessing. I think you will see massive turnout because it's not my making, it's not his as well, but it's just a divine understanding for him to come here. Even couple of times we have tried to change this date, the 26th of July. We have tried couple of times. Ask him, he will testify. He said no, his program has already been done and he can't change that date. So if we have to change the date, then we have to lose all the programs. So that's why we just said, okay, God will take care. Let's keep going. Let's move.
And let me continue from where my brother has really intelligently taken it to. Why Richard Kings? Like he said, he didn't make that decision. I didn't make the decision. God made that decision. And we would look at it from this point. Richard King is that person who has been swimming through difficulties to success. If you look at his life, he's a Baptist in Banso, that's the minority. He is an Anglophone in Yaoundé, that's the minority. He is, I mean, if you look at most of the things that he said, and he has struggled until he has pushed himself there. You know, they say the best teacher is experience. If we need somebody to teach us about how to survive, we need somebody who has experienced it, not somebody who read it in the books. And I think Richard King is one of those people. One more thing I want to say, what are we doing? Why is Richard King coming? We have a culture, a group of cultures in Cameroon. Cameroon, in our ancestral times, was never known as a country. It was just people, right? When the Portuguese came, they mapped an area and they called it Cameroon. That area was made up of many cultures. We have the Hausa Fulani cultures, which we have in the north. We have the people we call in the east. That's we call them the pygmies, but they are the Baka cultures. For example, we have the Ewundo Bulu cultures in the south. We have the Sawa culture in the coastal region. We have the grass field cultures, which we have quite a few of them, and we have like the Tika culture. Those are many cultures that we lived in. Now, when colonial masters came for their interest, they decided to separate people of the same culture, and they became people now of different cultures. Some people call themselves Anglophones, some people call themselves Francophones, and such. You see, it's a description of our ancestral story. The real story is, who is your ancestor? That's the real story. And now, how did your ancestor relate with some other person's ancestor? We do not need some other person to come here and translate things for us and make us. We already integrated ourselves among these people. So one of the things that we want to do, rather than taking it like a 20th May celebration where we take a national flag and march and pass and sing for the late President of Cameroon, no, we should take the Northerners, where they call them the Hausa Fulani people. Let them come and present their Fulani culture in a parade. We should take the Baka people, who are the people of the East, let them come and present their culture in a parade. The Sawa people, the Bulu, Ewondo people, the Grassfields people, and so many other of those people. I want to ask you a question. If you look at all the artists around, who do you think fits? It's a line of best fits in all these cultures beyond Richard Kings. I think he is one of the best. If we would not call him the best, we would call him one of the best to come and do that.
That's interesting.
Anybody wants to think that they can miss this occasion or this event, they have themselves to blame. Actually, it will be a very colorful event where cultures are presented. And like I said, there are myths. Richard King is an educator. There are myths in our culture where he is coming to help us, educate us, put away such myths. For example, many people think that if you are a culturalist, you are no longer a Christian. Some people will say, oh, I'm not in culture, I'm in church. I want to ask a question. Where did church separate you from your culture? Nowhere. No Christianity rule in the Bible has separated anybody from their cultures. We understand that there are some cultural practices that may not have been very okay, right? Because they believed in certain things. And as time goes on, people develop. It's like iterative. You develop something, incremental, you develop something, you get it better. Then you first of all put it in the market. Then you get a better version of it. So you work on what is already existing and make it better, and then keeps on making it better. That's how it is. So if you look at all these cultures, the best way to cut across everything is for people to start realizing that our cultures are the best things, the best that we need to be educated through.
Thanks so much, Daddy Ashu. So if I hear you guys well, Richard King's coming here, first of all, is divine. He has a wealth of experience, and he will be quite educative. So it's going to be a learning experience, entertainment, learning, and many more things to come. Is that right?
Correct.
Good. So I want to pass back to Richard King's. I would like you to share with us one of your most meaningful piece of work you've done in the past, like something that you did and it stood out for you. And anytime you think about your career as an artist, that is the first thing that comes to mind. Can you share that special experience or most meaningful experience you've had as an artist in your life?
Yeah, I can see how you nuanced the question. So it could either be a song or an experience, but I'll entertain both. Basically, the most impactful thing in my life was my mom accepting that I can sing, that I should go ahead. promoting me and encouraging me in every sense, physically, spiritually, and intellectually, because she knows that I inherited this from her family line. Because my mom, she sings better than I do, by the way. And that was the most important thing. And my mom now, and between me and my mom, we had to bring up arguments for my dad. So my dad was, if you bring me the good grades back in school, at that time there was something called honor roll students, when you had the highest average, yearly average, the highest yearly average, from 15 to 16, then you would be given a scholarship because we were in the GBHS Kumo. So I ended up with 3,500 or 14,500. It used to be either you had an average of 15. So from Form 2, I ended up bringing in those good results, presenting it to mom, and then I and my mom presenting it to my dad and saying, okay, now you can take this 15,500, we gather it, next year we can buy you a guitar, we can buy you this. This was a negotiation. So that's how my academic reality and my art evolved with that negotiation within a family that fortunately for me was enlightened, because I had my dad was educated and my mom was educated.
Mhm.
But now, after all of that, all of that is said and done, the creative nature of my heart writing a song and writing it in Lamsa also stems from my mother's kid brother, who was a prominent singer in the Baptist church, the leader of the Baptist choir, the Lamsa choir in the Baptist church in Kumbo. So he would teach me the songs. He would sit and we composed songs together, and I was still a little kid. So he showed me some tricks. He would take an Indian song. At that time, he used to love Indian films. Take a melody, dun, 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 and then he would write the lyrics in Lamsa, and then we would start singing it. So it's been a whole life singing. That's the truth. So, and coming to the particular songs, it would be like choosing the best of your children. But all I'm trying to say here is each day I wake up with a new song in my head, with a new melody. That's why I love improvising more than singing songs that I have composed years ago.
Okay.
And in fact, the songs that I composed years ago, people are still only understanding the meaning of those songs just now. This is the honest truth. There were certain songs that I was not singing them in the East and was Lamsa. I was singing it in the ancestral. It's just like singing an English song with Shakespearean English, not obsolete, but with depth. You see what I'm trying to say? So the English language evolves differently from the Lamsa, of course, I know. But what I'm trying to say is the Lamsa with which I sing, is much more the similes, the onomatopoeias, the soul expressions of how our culture has evolved. So avoiding as much as I can not to be noisy, I don't know which song I can sing which would be like representative of what you wanted me to do.
Shufai.
And
Richard Kings, I do not have any particular representation. All I wanted is for you to be natural, is for you to share with us what comes to your mind at this time. What is it that stands out for you? It could be based on how
come,
you're feeling, it could be based on what you're seeing here. So just share with us.
you're a very good communicator. Fire, kolema, fire, kolema, tia. Fire, kolema, fire, kolema, tia. Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I just had to make sure that I could go around and try as much as I could.
Yeah,
But hey,
wonderful.
No,
that was
it's
just
amazing.
one of those things. And it's
Wonderful.
only you, Kong, who can make me do that kind of thing.
People pay for this. People pay to
She's the only girl.
we just
You
had that for
know,
free. So we really appreciate that.
and
Yeah.
that's why AB Canada, that's why the cross cultural, promo is that junction. This is
Yeah.
where we are. Okay. If I see a vision, it takes a visionary to identify and follow a vision too. If you are a visionary in your life, you will see other people's visions and you would go and that energy will attract you. That is also a very important thing with this cross cultural promo. We have to be able to celebrate our defects. A Bangi man would pronounce English words the way they would love to pronounce English words. And someone would pronounce English words with even an Indian, when they speak English, people have their different accents. So
Right.
we cannot approach cultural diversity with complexes. In our AB Canada, within the cross cultural promo, we do not approach cultural realities with stereotypes. We approach cultural realities with the awareness of our diversity, our love for who we are, our love for our common heritage, which is our identity. So I am just grateful and always will be grateful that I am part of this vision and it is for good. It is for good. And Ashukem, Adadi Ashukem, Kom, Azong, you gentlemen, see, we are here to build. Nobody is a star here. And our little intentions, commercial or human relations or philosophical, they are only here to build a blueprint for our children, like Azong said. If our great grandkids one day come and say, this is where these great grandfathers did they tried something like that and left it here, we can pick up from here and go on. That is humility. That is us saying that we are not here alone and we will not be here forever. We have to modestly start understanding that, and maybe leadership in Cameroon or Africa will understand that the older you go, that wisdom should be an armchair wisdom, where if you're older and you're 93, you don't necessarily have to be the leader, you can be the advisor and let some other person be there. Ashikem, I don't expect him to be in this position to have this energy, or me to have this energy of flying to Canada and all over like I fly now. In the next 10 to 15, 20 years, I will not be able to do this. But I cannot be waiting to get tired before a gentleman like Azong or my
Ghana.
brother here, Ghana. I cannot be waiting. If Ghana wants leadership now, I would be imparting that leadership to him tacitly, because now it is difficult for us to impart explicit knowledge onto children right now. They are even bored of sitting in classrooms. You have to motivate them before they wake up in the morning to go to school. So what we have to be doing now is we have to be imparting wisdom onto them tacitly. You see, there is no way. So we have to learn those skills, Ashu, Papa Ashu said, Ashu Kem said. Who is your ancestor? How did they used to communicate with us? Did they come and sit around the fireside when the griot of the village or the pa of the village was telling stories? Why were we always glued together around that man who would tell us those stories in the village? What has happened to that? Why can we not do that to our children? Does the father of the house still tell the stories? And if we don't, in the village square in Calgary, is there a space where the children can come and somebody will tell them stories? That is why I'm coming to Calgary. I'm not coming to Calgary to make money. As Ashu came, they couldn't. We don't have money. They don't have money to pay me. If I was asking for money to come to Canada, I know maybe someday they would have money, but I would wish that they remember that I came for nothing. And if they go and they're picking up somebody who seem to be having that traction where there might be money exchange. If there is money exchange, yes, every commercial activity should bring in return on investment. But all I'm trying to say is there are people, and me inclusive, who have sacrificed their lives to open up doors, to take the keys and open up doors and leave them open for thousands of others to come through. But if people like us do not exist, those doors will be closed forever. To our cultures, to our children, to our communities, those doors would have been closed. So we have our roles to play. I know my role, and I play that role in all modesty and in all humility. And what I've benefited from all my music life is the human relations I've created. If I sing for the African Nations Cup, the Women's African Nations Cup, and the Cameroon government calls me and says, Richard, tu vas chanter avec Charlotte Dupanda, tu vas chanter la version anglophone, anglaise. That is an honor. They might give me a medal and pay me maybe 10 million or something. That money will go. It will finish. But to stand in front of 85,000 people in Yaoundé and sing for an inaugural ceremony for a Women's African Nations Cup in 2016 or something like that, those are the things that we do modestly. We don't have to shout on the rooftops about it. We just have to do them and know that you are part of something bigger than you. I'm part of something bigger than me, guys, and I'm conscious of it. What we're going to do in Calgary is bigger than us. So I would beg now to submit to the energies that are bigger than us, better than us, the universe, to come in and say, hey, this is a plant, it's a tree that these people are planting. Let us plant it. Even if one person comes in and says, this is the fruit of that tree, in years to come, we would have succeeded. Okay? So for anybody who goes to church, take the parable of the sower. Okay? If that good guy in the good book throws the seeds and some fall on thorns, some seeds fall on stones, some seeds fall on fertile ground, let us spread the seed. Let us spread it. And then on each soil that the seed will fall, then the consequences of that soil would make the seed germinate or die. But we would have done our part in order to plant the seed. So I humbly submit again to us within our learning processes that Richard King's coming to Calgary is not to come and wow anybody, it's to come for an exchange, for a spiritual exchange, an intellectual exchange, a physical exchange, in all humility, not because you know or I know, but to discover. And the moment you discover the phenomenon of Richard King's, you're hooked onto it. You never leave it. It's a movement. It is not pop music. My music is not pop. I don't pop now and go out of pop tomorrow. No, I've been popping since 2000, and I'll pop until the day the Almighty says thy kingdom come. You see? So that is who we are. We are Zen. It is not stardom. It is not inferiority. It is just Zen. It's just being us. So thank you so much. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, madam. I am looking forward to seeing all of you personally so I can touch you. I've never seen Ashukem. I've never touched any of you. We've never met, but we will. And Calgary is going to be that agora, that meeting point where each and every one of us will show the directions to our homes. Like we all know that this is the junction and this is the idle park. And we now in that park will sit on those benches and relax and watch the doves. The doves will walk, will run, will breathe, will invite more people into that park, especially when there's a barbecue. All right, let me leave it. Let me leave it.
Thanks so much, Richard Kings. I don't know how the others are feeling, but for me, I feel like I just want to keep listening and asking more questions. But unfortunately, time is not on our side. We can't keep you here all evening. You're a busy man, and we appreciate the time you've spent with us tonight. I like the topics some key things that you said, talked about humility, building bridges across cultures, and everyone should be responsible for playing their own role. The role that Richard Kings is gonna play is not the role Lillian is going to play. What Ashun Kem is gonna do is not what Asung will do. So we all have something and our responsibilities to play in the success of building our community. Then I also like the message he passed about us passing our culture to our children. If we don't pass that, our parents did to us. If we don't pass that to our children, then I guess we have failed. So that's a good message I'm leaving here tonight with. So I'm really, really excited and looking forward to meeting Richard Kings in the next couple of months. I'll turn back to Ashu, Daddy Ashu and Ashu. Can you tell our audience tonight what to expect from the cross-cultural promo event coming up? I don't know when, so just tell us what it's gonna look like so that we know what we start preparing our shoes, clothes, or whatever we have to prepare for that night.
I will say something very short and brief for him to continue. From what Kings of Richard King just said, the kids are very involved in this. I have some 5 kids I'm working with behind the scene already, so I want them to speak their father's dialects. So I feel you guys will experience our kids already enjoying the fireside. That's the first part of it because they will be doing their fashion parade, and trying to bring out languages. I'm already working with them on that. So that I should continue the real to tell you guys more.
Yeah, I think what the relay from.
Just want you to tell our audience tonight what to expect from the cross-cultural promo event coming up. When is it gonna take place? What are we looking forward to so we start preparing for the event?
Yes. First of all, we brought this little innovation of female football. So we're going to have a female football. There are some clubs that are going to play, and those clubs, we call them the privileged ones that are going to start, and they would play until there will be a finalist, or so maybe the best team. It's a competition, right? That's one thing that's going to happen. Secondly, we are going to have presentation and education of cultures. Like we started saying, there are various cultures. You see, I want us to put colonial administration separate from our cultures. Because if you go to the Western Province, for example, we just call it Western Province because it's geographically limited to that area. But you see, beyond the borders of Western Province, you still find the cultures still creeping out into the Southwest, for example. You have the people of Lebialem, they have the same culture. It's like that. And even in the West, they came and they put Bangante people separate from Buddha people, separate from Tang people, separate from this, but they call all of them Babilik. You see, we are supposed to recognize our cultures. So we are going to demonstrate these cultures in groups, in big groups, not like little groups. For example, say, let the Bamileke people present their culture. How do the Bamileke people interact with the rest of the world when it comes to cultures? They'll come up and present themselves in a great parade. How do the people of the Northwest is not a culture, we call them the Tika people. How do they generally come and present? How do the Sawa people do their things? How do the Northerners do their things? How do the Ewondo Bulu people, and so on? So there will be this cultural parade. It is going to be wonderful and colorful. Anybody who misses that one, in short, the parade is one of the highlights of the day. If you miss that parade, you would have missed quite a lot of things. Third, there will be, we cannot do without traditional dishes, right? There will be food and drinks, lots of it. And this food, it will not be hamburger, it will not be pizza, it will be what we know in our cultures, right? There will be this food and drinks according to our cultures. There will also be some little things that we'll do to like interact among cultures, and will create an opportunity for how do they generally call this, personal relations. People can meet, uh,
Networking.
networking, sorry, thank you very much. Yes, so those are like the basic things for now that we can let out of the bag, let people know, let people have a glimpse of what is expected on the 26th of July. Thank
Thanks
you
so
very
much, Nadia Show. That's exciting. Asung, how are you feeling now after hearing all this?
Definitely, I feel that we are ready. I think the promoters and the organizers, so Daddy Ashukem and Mr. Ashunkem, they've made it very clear what it is that we expect. I think it was also important that we kind of talk to the artist, so that our people, sometimes we hear that something big is happening and we don't see evidence, we are not motivated, right? So I
Right.
am assuming that having Richard Kings here present today and talking to us, and looking excited about coming to Calgary and getting to perform and engage and interact with us. I think this is definitely a positive move. So I think what is left is for us as a community to promote this event. Put it out, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever it is that you go and wherever it is that you have other connections. Please, let's put it out there. Let's talk about it. Let's make some noise, like people would say, right? So that our community can turn up and turn out, so that people who are not within our Cameroonian community, people who are outside this community can feel motivated as well to attend and to be part of this event. So yeah, I'm quite positive. I'd say um, I've been talking with Mr. Ashunkem almost every day for a while now. Just making sure that things are in place. Hey, you guys, are you ready? Oh, your camera, do you have the best cameras because you want the best quality? We've had those conversations multiple times. Yesterday we had a conversation. I was like, we talked about. I said, Peppa, we don't talk about the camera matter. No, wait a minute. Again, it tells you who he is, right? He
Right.
wants to put out something out to the public, and he doesn't want it has to be high quality, right? It has to be high quality. It has to meet the standard that he has set for himself. So when we talk, I could see that in him, and I am motivated as an individual, as part of Idle Park Talk Show, to promote, to go as far as we can with promotion, because again, that's one thing that's key. I think this show was important. We were just going to continue with the promotion as we move on.
Thank you so
Um,
much, Asung.
yeah.
Ghana, how are you feeling after hearing everything that we have in package for the upcoming event on the 26th of July 2025?
Very optimistic. Just picking back on what Hassan said, I think Calgary is ready. I think they're ready to show Richard Kings that he's supported. He has a lot of fans there, I being one of them, and a lot of people are looking forward to listening to his voice, to enjoying the music that he has been putting out for years. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are ready to have fun, and having been in Calgary for a long time, one has seen Calgary grown to a major entertainment city, particularly of Cameroonian culture. So we are grateful for all the Cameroonians in Calgary that are willing to welcome Richard Kings. I hope that we can turn out and show him that he's very welcome. His music is well appreciated, and I hope that he's going to feel the love that we often give artists that come to visit. So, like Asana said, we'll continue to push it and hope for the best, and I trust that God is going to guide us through.
Thanks so much, Ghana. It's been an amazing conversation tonight. Unfortunately, we don't have all night to discuss. I wish we could
Yeah.
talk more, but I think we'll leave it at that for today. I would like our guests to give their last words or last remarks to our audience who are watching. Mr. Ashu, what would be your last words to those who are watching us tonight?
Yeah, if I have to say something, I think there's a remark of building capacity. The last time I spoke on Idle Park Talk Show, I see a lot of improvement, and I see the continuous improvement is really hitting hard. And I see you guys have been gaining ground, and to be part of this great event, I think is very, very awesome. And I think the Calgary people will see what they have never seen before. So I'll also assure people that Idle Park is a place to be. Idle Park is a place of resource. You can outsource resource in anywhere in your community, and I think you won't get any failure if you have to meet up to any standards. Just talk with them. They know who can meet, who they can talk to, and who they can direct you to. So they're just like a junction. They will tell you the road to go, where to go, and how to go about it. Thank you so very much. God bless you all.
Thanks so much, Mr. Ashu. Daddy Ashu, over to you. What are your last remarks for tonight? What would you like? What would you like our audience to leave tonight with? The last words that you like them to leave with.
Yeah, I would want to tell the audience that the best way to empowerment is through culture. We are in an environment where empowerment is invaluable. We can't just do without empowering ourselves. And the best way to empower ourselves is through cultures. Come and get an initiation into empowerment through culture and see how you are going to be a non-stoppable person, an unstoppable person in this environment where we live. You are welcome.
And before we leave, I want to use this opportunity to announce the DJs that we're going to pilot that night, and they're always on their keyboards now. They are on rest now, really working on everything. They have been on, like what our song said, that I'm always on his neck. That's I'm always on the neck. So we're going to have DJ Optimistic, I'll have DJ Billy, and fortunately, it's going to be his birthday on the 26th of July. He's as well. We're going to have celebrating two birthdays at the same time. So Daria Shua's birthday, his birthday will be on the 26th of July, as well as DJ Billy. So we have a lot of packages. The lovers and friends of Daria Shua and DJ Billy who wants to celebrate their birthday, it will be a fun, just a coincidence. It's like I said, everything is divine. So let's keep our hand crossed.
Thank you very much.
It seems the package will be bigger than us, Aso. I'm afraid the event will be bigger than Calgary to handle. There's a lot coming up. So thanks so much for your last words. Our special guest, our guest of honor, Richard Kings. What would you like to tell those who are watching us tonight? What would you like them to leave today to remember?
Building bridges in all humility, holding each other's hands to cross rivers, to go through impediments, to build teams that are cross-functional, teams that are within different cultures. This is all we have. Everybody in Calgary, I know that there are challenges. Every single day we wake up, we want to, where do I feed my children? How do I do the job in this strange country? Am I ever going to go back to Cameroon? How do I take them back to Cameroon? Are they going to integrate? What do I do? We wake up with anxiety, with questions that we cannot answer. But we forget to live in the moment. This moment is, if you telepathically talk with mom and dad, if you still have yours available and alive, they will always answer you. And then for those of us who believe in God, God is always there to say, hey, come over and let us have this fun together. Let's dance. Daddy Ashu said initially, who told you that believing in God dissociates you from your culture? Nobody. Nobody ever told you. In fact, Christianity is some other people's culture. And how did that culture make it into our own land? We should take the good things out of that culture, and they should take the good things out of us. That's what I guess somebody said, Iglesia in Africa. May his soul rest in peace. But all I'm trying to say is, if we all want to grow and cross these bridges, we have to keep an open mindset, be ready to eat some different food, be able to eat tamales just because they are wrapped in corn leaves, for example. Be able to tolerate others. tolerating your kids who are different, even, it's already a start of that cultural tolerance. If you cannot tolerate any other person, then you will definitely be a conservative. And most of those cultures that have decided not to tolerate others have gotten extinct. We all know it. So I am coming to Calgary with love, with humility, with an open mind to learn, to meet people, to eat good food, to eat ekwang, kwakoko, to eat any food. Achu, arrow. I'm ready to eat those different kind of foods as much as I'm ready to for people to ask me in questions that have never been asked before, and to be truthful. Now at this age, there's no reason to be hiding things and saying always that I was the first in class. And no. So all we are doing now is humbly saying that we will be seen in Calgary in our weaknesses and our strengths. And we would be ready to accept the weaknesses and build on, and then use our strength in order to inspire other people. So it is with all humility, and everybody who is watching our, our old, the park, everybody who's watching right now, just rest assured. Come over, let's celebrate. Ask questions. Don't sit behind and not come. Just come. You'll be surprised at what you might discover. And the best things are always hidden in plain sight, as I can tell you. So the biggest secrets that we have are always in plain sight. You will see in plain sight now the different myths and mysteries and mythologies and things that people always say. Nay, you come and see it. So I'm inviting everybody to come and enjoy. And thank you, Ashu, Papa Ashu, Akem, Kom, everybody. Thank you all for being here and for uplifting me, because today I'm going to sleep in a very, very good state of mind, and I'm going to tell the universe that, hey, I met good people and I met them, and please let it be done on earth as it is in heaven with us. And that is to whom we submit this venture and this vision. So not talking too much. It's beautiful. It was nice meeting all of you, and our spirits have connected, and this will be forever. There's no turning back after this. Thank you very much.
Richard, you forgot something.
Well said.
You forgot something.
Okay.
It's divine, and it happens that your wife is from.
Oh goodness me! I'm also coming with my wives. I'm coming with Rose. Ara. So Rose is she's bangy. So I'm coming with my wife, and I'm married to. So I am officially Eno. So people should not even think. So I'm officially Eno. So so there is no. So you can see that we're practicing that process.
Right.
In fact, I didn't know this, but this is. Thank you very much. As you came, oh my God, she's watching, and she's definitely going to let me know that you forgot to tell about me. Yeah? It's only my bank brother who had to remind you to tell them that. So yes, my wife is Bangi, and I'm coming with her. And her best friend actually lives in Calgary, Loveline, Ekwang. We'll definitely meet her. So, in fact, this is not just a journey. This is a pilgrimage for me to get to meet certain, what the best friend of your wife means for those of us who are married. Mm-hmm. If you find a best friend of your wife who is encouraging your wife to do the good things and making you have a good sleep back in the house, encourage her to always be with that one. When it is a woman, though. So if the best friend of your wife is a woman,
it's a man.
So I'm talking to the men now. So yes, encourage that one. Encourage that one. At least you have two. You have two Maya now.
Yeah. What a coincidence.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, our viewers. Thank you. Thank you.
Lillian, okay, that's it. So I have Richard King's link to his YouTube page down in the comment section for those who are interested. I'll also add his Facebook page link down there, so people can go directly to his pages and support him in that way. We do not talk about how we can support him, but And four, we might definitely going to talk about, how we promote and support Richard King specifically, maybe after the show at some point in the future. We will definitely be interested to do that.
Thank you.
Over to you, Lillian, for your closing statement, if any.
I just want to say thank you to all our guests tonight. It's been a moment of sharing. It's been a moment of learning. It's been a moment of culture. Um, I like to use one statement that Richard King's used, that secrets are always in plain places, meaning that you will not expect to see treasure. You will not expect to see treasure in a very normal place. So treasures are always hidden in plain places. I like us to remember that. I want to say thank you for all your words of wisdom, sharing your stories with us. Um, Personally, I'm an advocate of culture myself. I love culture, and culture is that one piece that keeps a human grounded. A person without their culture is like a tree without its roots, meaning that it's dead. So we love our culture. We like to build bridges across cultures. We want to be open to learn other cultures. We want to integrate in the community. So thanks so much to our audience, and we're excited and looking forward to the cross cultural promo event coming up in July on the 26th. I guess we are expecting all attenders to come in their traditional regalia to paint the event with the color that
Correct.
it deserves.
Very, very correct. Very correct.
Exactly. So thank you so much, and looking forward to meet all of you there. See you guys soon. As I'll pass it
Thank
over
you.
to you.
Good night, everyone. I think we've exhausted our time. It's late back there in the US, so I'll let Richard King go. Richard King's go. It's almost 10 o'clock here, so I would not, do an elaborate, closing. Again, just an appreciation to those who were part of the show. Of course, Daddy Ashunkem, who is a renowned community leader here in Calgary. Of course, Mr. Ashun Kem, who is, the head organizer of the show. And again, a special thank you to our guest of honor and our guest artist, Richard Kings. Again, this moving forward is going to be promotion, promotion, promotion. That's what we are going to do moving forward. Thank you, everyone. I wish you all a wonderful night, and we will get to talk to you guys again some other time.
Thank you very much.
Good night.